All in.
All in.
You have a pair? Oh
No.
shit. If you don't have a pair, I'm in bad shape.
Welcome to this episode of How to Crush No Limit Hold'em games in United States Casino. I'm Jun. Today we're going to the largest casino near Washington DC, which is MGM National Harbor. And as you can see in the app, there's many tables, and let's go fishing. Today we're playing 130 game and we bought it for $300. And the first hand we're gonna share is I got King Queen suited on low jack and open raise to 15 bucks. Small blind, a very aggressive Asian player calls. And although I've just played for a couple of hands, but I saw this small blind player played every single hand and very aggressive. And after big blind folded, flop comes Queen 10 for 2 spades. He checked to me. And this is a very good flop. I hit a top pair and a flush draw. It also means my opponent will have less card that has relation to this board. So I decided to check back. And turn comes a 7 of diamonds, and he didn't let me down and bets 15 bucks, around half of the pot. And since I already checked the flop, and I won't be too worried about any river card, so I decided just call. River comes a 6 of clubs, and he checked to me. Here I'm gonna start betting for some value. I'm betting for 40 bucks, around 2/3 of the pot. I'm wishing to get value from his Queen X or 10X. But to my surprise, he check raised to 120. Wow, this river check raise is a fancy move. But actually it didn't really make sense. Because on the range of he betting turn and check river, I don't think his strong hands like 2 pairs or sets would check the river. And also considering opponent is aggressive, so I decided to call. And turns out the opponent shows Jack 8 offsuit. And we successfully catch the bluff and then took down this first pot. Call.
Jack high. Yeah. I gotta show.
And the second hand is I got Ace Queen offsuit on the hijack and raised it to 15 bucks. Bottom player calls. And small blind, the aggressive Asian player from that hand, he 3-bet me to 70 bucks. All folds to me. Here I check his chips behind. He has around 180 left. So actually my Ace Queen offsuit is a good hand. I block aces, ace king, ace queens. Plus, facing this kind of player, 3-bet range, I usually would be ahead. So I decided to push all in. And he snap call and asked me if I got a pair. All in.
All in.
You have a pair? Oh
No.
shit. If you don't have a pair, I'm in bad shape.
And seems like he's got Ace X or King X, this type of hand. And flop counts 9 deuce for turn and river is very good. It has a queen and deuce. So I show my ace queen and took down this pot. And we stack this aggressive Asian player. And also we can see on the wizard, if hijack open and button calls, the big blind 3-bet range would contains big pairs above jacks and ace jack offsuit, and also some king queen offsuit and king jack offsuit, and also some ace 5 suited or ace 4 suited, this kind of hand. But I think for an aggressive player like this Asian player, the range would be even wider. So it would contains like ace small, all the ace small suited. Then we look at hijack strategy. We can see facing that range, ace queen offsuit would be half all in and half fold. So I think facing an aggressive player plus our chips behind are below 100 big blind, I choose all in is a better decision. So the next hand start with 4 limpers and I got 3-4 offsuit on the big blind. I choose to check to see a flop. And flop counts 4-4 deuce rainbow. Small blind check to me. Although I got a trip, but on this 5-way pot I don't have any make any sense to lead out, so I choose to check. And all checks to bottom player. He bets 10 bucks. And the bottom player turns out to be a always 15 bro. No matter how big the pot is, he always bet 15 bucks. He's a very interesting player. And after small blind folded, here I choose to call, and other folds. Turn comes a 5 of spade. I pick up a double-ended straight draw, and I check to him again. He still bets 10 bucks. Here it was an easy call for me. And the river comes a 9 of clubs, a totally blank. I check to him. Here he bets 15 bucks. Well, this is a very confusing move to me. On one hand, this is a very small size and it's really hard for me to fold. On the other hand, I don't know what hands I will win after I call this. It's really hard to think what kind of bluff he could have here. So I asked him.
Got a 4?
I would be just like, really trying to find me.
Oh, 10 folded.
Go down.
Got a 4.
And then I choose to call, and turns out the opponent shows 2-7 offsuit. Wow, just a reminder, we don't play 2-7 games in this casino. And he probably just want to show his bluffs, and turns out we successfully catch the bluff, and then we took down the spot. And the next hand is all folds to bottom player. He chooses to limp. And today we're gonna have a lot of hands playing against this limp-bro. Because he sits on our right and he always limp pre-flop. So we ISO raise him to punish him a lot. I got king 9 of hearts on small blind. I ISO raise to 18 bucks. Bottom calls and flop comes jack 8-7 2 hearts. I got a gut shot and flush draw. But on this board, it's not favoring the pre-flop raiser that much, so I decided to check. And he chose to check. Turn comes a deuce of hearts. Very luckily, I hit the second nuts. And I gonna start betting for value. I choose to bet for half of the pot, and opponent choose to call. River comes a 8 of clubs. A very good card for opponent's range, because opponent will likely to check bet his 8x and calls the turn. So I bet for a full pot size 75 bucks, wishing he can pay me. But very sadly, opponent choose to fold, but we successfully took down this pot again. As I thought everything would be so good, so smooth. The next hand I got ace-king offsuit on small blind, and the action start with middle position player open raise to 15 bucks and button calls, and the two players are not deep behind, so I 3-bet only to 65 bucks. And middle position player push all in for 131, and after button folded, I choose to snap it, and the board comes 9 deuce 3 7 8, and opponent shows pocket queens. And very unfortunately, we did not win this flip, and we lose almost our all chips. So far we won.
All in and out. I call. We have an all in and a call.
In the next hand start with low jack player limped. I got queen jack suited on the hijack, choose to raise it to 18 bucks, and button calls. Big blind, another new Asian player 3-bet to 45 bucks. Low jack folded. And generally I think the 3-bet range on the big blind is very strong. But this Asian player also is a very aggressive player. Before this hand, he got king 10 offsuit on 4, 6, 7, 4, 3. He check called the flop and lead out the turn and bet river. So he's a very aggressive player. And I think our queen jack suited is a very playable hand, so I decided to call to see a flop. But now I think we're not very deep behind, so perhaps next time we would be better if we were deep behind. And anyways, the flop comes ace queen 5 2 hearts. He bets 40 bucks, 1/3 of the pot. And basically it's possible he bets all of his range on this flop, so I choose call with my pair of queen. And turn comes a 3 of diamonds, is a blank. Turns out he bets 120, around 60% of the pot. I check his chips behind around 120, so basically we're gonna decide whether we're gonna win all in with him. And actually my queen jack actually blocks some of his bluffs, such as king jack. Plus I have better combos here to play with him, so I decided to fold eventually. And very sadly we lose this 3-bet pot. And the next hand start with middle position player limped, cutoff player calls. And the bottom player raised to 10 bucks. I got 7-8 of diamonds facing this small raise, and the 2 limpers are very likely to call calls. So I decided to call, and all players did not let me down and choose to call. We're seeing a 4-way pot. And flop comes jack 5 6 2 spades. All checks to cutoff player, and this always 15 bro leads out 10 bucks. And bottom player calls. And facing this small size bet, I got a backdoor flush draw and double-ended straight draw. I choose to check raise to 50 bucks. If turn comes a diamonds, I can pick up great equity, and also on the other hand I can fold opponents' weak ranges. But to my surprise, 2 opponents choose to call. And turn comes a 3 of spades. And the pot is already 200 bucks. And one of the short stack opponent only have 250 left. And because this is a 3-way pot, so it's very likely that one of the opponent has flush draw on the flop. So I choose to check. And the cutoff always 15 bro bets 15 bucks, which is a bit weird, but the bottom player punished him right away. He raised it to 200 bucks. And action turns to me, it's an easy fold, and cutoff player also fold. And bottom player shows 8-4 of spade. He actually have a flush, and very sadly we lose this pot. And the next hand is low jack and cutoff player limped. I got queen 3 of clubs, ISO raised to 20 bucks. And the player on this table very likes to limp, and I ISO them a lot. I think they're a bit on tilt, and someone even say to me that, hey, just want to confirm that this is not a 2-5 game, which is very interesting to me. And after I raise to 20 bucks, 2 players all choose to call. And flop comes 10 5 3 2 hearts. They check to me. Here I got a bottom pair and backdoor flush draw, and this is a relatively dry board, so I bet 20 bucks, hoping to protect my bottom pair, and turns out 2 players choose to call. And turn comes a 8 of diamonds. They check to me again, and this ace is favoring my range better, and I don't think opponent would choose to defend too many ace high on this flop, so I continue bets 50 bucks, and low jack player fold and cutoff continue to calls. River comes a king of diamonds. He checked to me again, and I think this is a very great bluff spot, because if opponent has a top pair, now he has 2 high card on the board, and on the other hand, on the flop calling range, opponent will not have any jack queen nuts or ace high. And I also got a queen which blocks the jack queen, so I decided to fire the 3rd bullet, bet for 125. And very luckily opponent did not think for too long and choose to fold. We successfully bluff and took down this pot. And the next hand we're playing against the limp-bro again. He limped on the low jack, and I got ace-5 suited on hijack and raised it to 18 bucks. He chose to call. Flop comes 8-5 deuce rainbow. He checked to me. And this is a very dry board. He will have a lot of missed 2 high card like 9-10 or queen jack. So I bet 15 bucks to protect my pair of 5, and he chooses to call. In turn comes a king of spade. He checked to me, and this king, although is favoring my range, but I think my pair of 5 has some showdown value, so I check back. River comes the ace of spade and complete the backdoor flush. But I'm not very worried about the backdoor flush because opponent is very hard to float any backdoor flush without an ace, and the ace of spade is on the board. So opponent choose to bet 70 bucks, 20 bucks on the 70 bucks pot. To me, this is more like a blocking bet, and I got 2 pairs, so I decided to raise for value. And I raised it to 70 bucks. Opponent choose to call, and I showed 2 pair is good, and I successfully took down this pot. And literally the next hand, I got some hand and playing against with the iso-bro again. I got 9-10 suited on low jack, and the iso-bro limped on middle position, and I raised it to 20 bucks. And button and middle position player all calls. Flop comes king queen 9 rainbow, middle position check to me, and this board is very connective, so I think opponent may hit the board, and I don't think I can fold the hand which is better than mine, so I decided to check. And bottom player also check. Turn comes a king and pair the board, and all checks to bottom player. He bets 20 bucks and middle position folded. Facing this 1/3 bet, I still choose to call because his range will still have some pocket pairs that is worse than mine or some straight draw. And river comes a 3 of spade. He's a totally blank. I check to him. If he bets, I probably would fold because I think this player plays really relative honest. I don't think he would bluff his misdraws. And turns out he chooses to check back. After I show, he shows pocket 5, and we took down this last pot. Thanks for watching. That's it for this week. And because this session we have a lot of hands to play against these iso bros, so we are going to continue playing with these bros on the next episode. And thanks for watching. Please leave a comment if you have any ideas, and I'll see you guys next week.
That is your chance to be ruthless.